Hello, hello, and welcome to this somatic yoga practice to empower you to release anxiety and come back to and embody your inner power, empowering you from the inside out. My name is Kelsey Holmes. I am a certified yoga instructor, life and mindset coach, empowering women to truly embody their badass magical self. And today's yoga practice is going to help you, like I said, release the anxiety that's not serving you so that you can embody your empowerment back into this present moment. Anxiety comes from stressing about the future, the what ifs, the never ending things that happen in our mind. So today we are going to get out of our mind and really feel into our body. This is going to be a gentle practice to really help you tune in and feel your body today. It's going to be intuitively led, so I'm going to cue you, but remember that this is your yoga practice, and if at any point what I'm offering you is not serving you, your body, your being, please modify, skip, or adjust, or just allow yourself to meet yourself where you're at today so that you can intuitively move. This somatic yoga practice is designed so that you can really embody what feels good in the moment for you, coming back into your power, coming back into your inner knowing within your body. So let's go ahead and dive in. Roll out your mat, grab your water, and let's get started. So today we're going to go ahead and start on our backs. So laying down, however is comfortable. If you'd like to roll up a little blanket or a bolster underneath your knees, if your low back is feeling tight, I encourage you to do so. But you can come back to your back, allowing your palms of the hands to face upward, allowing your shoulders to gently tuck, allowing your heart to open gently towards the ceiling. And as you arrive here on your mat, take a moment to intentionally come into this moment with gratitude and appreciation for yourself and your being, for gifting yourself this 20 minutes on your mat, for you to be fully aware and present with the thoughts in your head, the sensations in your body, and the feel and flow of your breath. Just begin to notice the rhythm of your breath as it flows in and out of your nose, not controlling it. Just begin to notice the flow. Notice if there's a pause or if it's feeling fluid. Notice where in your body you feel movement stimulated from your inhale and exhale. Feeling your belly and chest rise and fall. Notice your shoulders and hips gently shifting with each inhale and exhale. Notice your arms, gently minute movements stimulated from each breath. Maybe you notice movement down your legs, into your knees and calves, maybe all the way into your heels and feet. Notice where the furthest spot from the lungs in your body that you can feel subtle, tiny, minute movements stimulated from your inhale and exhale. Notice the temperature of your breath as the cool air draws in through your nose, filling from the bottom of the lungs in the belly all the way to the top, and then the warmed air as it travels up your throat and out your nose. And then gently begin to deepen your inhale and your exhale, allowing yourself to slowly and intentionally take a little longer, slower, deeper inhalation, filling all the way from the bottom of the lungs to the very top. And as you exhale, intentionally exhaling everything out, gently and lovingly drawing your navel towards your spine to squeeze every last bit of stale breath from the lungs. On your inhale, expand through the belly to engage through your diaphragm to fill all the way from the base of the lungs to the very top. And as you exhale, gently and lovingly draw the navel in towards your spine, beginning to engage in diaphragmatic belly breathing. Maybe you place one or both of your hands on your belly, allowing yourself to have another sensation of these diaphragmatic breaths as you inhale. Expand through the belly. Allow yourself to take up space. This engages through the diaphragm, allowing oxygen to be drawn in through the lungs, through the large diaphragm muscle. And as you exhale, draw the navel towards the spine, lovingly with appreciation for the breath, exhaling everything out completely. Continue for a couple more rounds of these deep belly breaths, inhaling to expand through the belly, to draw the air into the very base of the lungs. And as you exhale, slowly release, gently squeezing the navel towards the spine on your last bit of an exhale. When we engage through our diaphragm, taking these deep diaphragmatic belly breaths, it draws us back into the parasympathetic nervous system, back into our rest and digest stage, out of fight or flight. When we take shallow kind of upper chest breaths that engage through the scalenes, the sternocleidoid mastoid, to draw the upper rib cage in, to draw the breath in, that brings us into a fight or flight state. That's when our body just takes those quick shallow breaths to get us through a moment. So when we intentionally engage through the diaphragm, taking these deep belly breaths as you are continuing, notice how your whole body just slowly relaxes just a little bit deeper into your mat, allowing your whole body to feel rested, feeling the oxygen pump through your entire body as you get a full and thorough inhale by breathing all the way down into the belly. And then exhaling everything out completely. You can release these diaphragmatic belly breaths and allow yourself at any point throughout your day when you notice anxiety arising, allow yourself to tap back into these deep belly breaths. Maybe even once again placing your hand on your belly so that you can allow the connection, the grounding to come back into this present moment, having the awareness in the present moment with this breath here and now. From here, begin to reach your toes long on the mat, arms reach overhead. Allow yourself to yawn. Maybe you make a sigh, reaching fingertip to toe tip as though you're just awakening into the day anew. One more full breath here, reaching fingers and toes long. Notice how this feels. And as you exhale, slowly and gently hug your knees in towards the chest. Hands can come to the tops of the knees. And take a moment here on your back with your hands on the tops of your knees to allow yourself to find intuitive movement. Maybe you would gently like to rock side to side, rolling out your sacrum, or that big triangular bony piece at the very base of the spine, the junction between our spine and our legs and our hips. When we draw little circles with our knees first in one direction, we're actually giving our sacrum a little micro massage with all of the tendons that attach here from the spine and the hips. You can switch directions of the circles, Notice how if you slow down the movement, it creates a different sensation. Allowing yourself to feel into the sensations of drawing these circles. Maybe it would feel good for you to gently draw your knees out to the side, making big swooping circles, drawing them back together again, drawing the knees in, out to the side. Notice how your hips feel with this motion, and back in. You can switch directions of these bilateral circles. And if you switch directions, notice how this sensation in your hips, your low back, your pelvis feels different than just a moment ago with the circles in the other direction. Notice the minute, tiny sensations in your hips, in your hip sockets, in your sacrum and SI joint, your sacroiliac joint, so right on the edge of the sacrum where the sacrum meets the pelvis at the ilium. You can hug the knees into the chest, taking any final movements that would feel good here on your back, rocking side to side. Maybe you find stillness and choose to point and flex your feet. Allow yourself to explore how this feels in this moment. Notice any sounds or sensations. For example, my ankles are popping and creaking a little bit. Notice how your breath feels different than a moment ago as you were laying down here on your mat with your knees hugged into your chest. And then from here, we'll take the hands to the back of the thighs and allow ourselves to rock lengthwise up and down the spine 2 or 3 times until you rock all the way up to a seat. From this seated position, we're going to roll over our knees to find a tabletop position. In our tabletop position, we can draw a blanket underneath our knees, especially if they're feeling tender. Allow the shoulders to stack directly over the wrists. Allow the hips to stack directly over the knees. Take a moment to gently and lovingly draw your navel in towards the spine. This is going to protect and support our low back. If you're not sure your core is engaged, you can press both of the tops of your feet down into the mat, maybe so much so that your knees hover above the mat. You'll feel your core light up there. You can release the tops of the feet and allow yourself to continue to lovingly draw your navel in towards the spine, allowing the crown of the head to reach forward and the tailbone reaching back. Take a moment to notice what it feels like here in this neutral tabletop before we find movement through our cat and cow. Just notice what this stillness feels like. Notice how the pads of your fingers feel as they press down evenly into the mat. Notice what the palms of your hands feel like. Notice how your core and your breath feels here in this tabletop position. From this place of core engagement, we're going to begin to flow through our cat and cow. So on an inhale, allow your tailbone and gaze to gently lift towards the ceiling. And as you exhale, intentionally press the mat away as you round the spine, tucking the chin to the chest. And from here, beginning to find this intuitive flow and movement with your breath, inhaling to gently arch the spine, continuing to engage through the core. Notice how your low back feels supported with that gentle core engagement. You can begin to add any intuitive movement, perhaps shifting the hips side to side or gazing back towards the tail. Maybe you sink your hips back towards a child's pose for a breath or two. Maybe it would feel good to find a more exaggerated movement here. Allowing yourself to play and explore with your cat and cow. I encourage you to close your eyes here. Allow yourself to tune in to the sensations. Notice how your left hip feels in this moment. Notice how your right elbow feels. Notice how your left cheek feels. Continuing to intuitively explore through your cat and cow. How many ways can you move here in this position with your spinal movement? Take 2 more rounds of breath to explore this movement. And then from here, we'll bring the big toes to touch. Bring your knees wide on your yoga mat and allow yourself to sink your hips back to a child's pose. A few options here. You can allow your arms to reach long on the mat. You can perhaps, if you want more engagement through your shoulders, bring the palms of the hands to meet and bend at the elbows, allowing your thumbs to come to the back of your neck. If you would like, another option would be to gently reach your hands towards your heels, to cup your heels, allowing your third eye or the middle of your brow to gently rest on the mat or a block or a blanket. Allow yourself to find a position here that feels comfortable for you. If you have any wiggles, you can gently shift side to side. Maybe you'd like to find stillness and allow yourself to bring your awareness back to your breath. Allow yourself to find any intuitive movement or stillness that feels good for you here in your body. Remembering that when we allow ourselves to experience our body in this moment, it draws us into this present moment, into the here and now, where all of the magic happens, where all of your power lies. When you allow yourself to find intuitive movement or stillness in your practice, allowing yourself to listen to your own guidance of your body, you actually build trust within yourself for both on and off the mat. Allow yourself to find 3 more full breaths here. And then on your next inhale, allow yourself to reach your arms overhead if they're not there already. Spread your fingers wide, actively press down into all 10 fingertips, and slowly draw yourself back to a tabletop position. As the knees find their way underneath the hips, wrists find their way underneath the shoulders, take a moment, notice how different this tabletop position feels than a moment ago. From here, we'll walk the hands slightly in front of where they were, shifting ourselves forward to a low plank as the navel draws in towards the spine. Slowly exhale, lowering all the way down to the mat, allowing the elbows to skim the rib cage. As you press the tops of the feet down into the mat, maybe you tense your fingers next to your rib cage. On an inhale, slowly and lightly press into the fingertips, baby cobra. Exhale to slowly release. Inhale to baby cobra. Tops of the feet can press down into the mat to protect the low back. Exhale to slowly release. Last time, inhale, baby cobra. And exhale to release. You can plant your hands next to your rib cage. Press yourself through a tabletop position. From here, we'll tuck our toes, sink the hips back towards the heels, and pause here for just a moment. We're going to begin to gently shift the hips side to side with all 10 toes tucked underneath. This is allowing us to open through the plantar fascia on the soles of the feet, intuitively pressing gently a little bit more into one side and then the other. When we're opening through the plantar fascia on the sole of the feet, we're actually opening through our entire posterior fascial chain, so the tough connective tissue that holds our entire body together. Take a moment to continue to shift the hips side to side, waking up into that plantar fascia. It might even feel like a little of a burning sensation in your toes or your arches. That's actually the fascial stretch. So the fascia is the tough connective tissue that actually surrounds all of our cells and muscles and organs and keeps everything where it needs to be. So from here, as we're opening through the plantar fascia, we'll begin to make our way to a downward facing dog. As you send your hips skyward, press into your toes to lift the hips towards the ceiling. Take a moment here to begin to pedal out your legs, gently bending one knee and then the other, shifting your weight side to side. Maybe it would feel good to bend both knees deeply, allowing your heart to melt back towards the thighs as the sits bone and tailbone reach up towards the ceiling. Taking a moment to find any intuitive movement here in your downward facing dog, whether that is pedaling out your legs, bending them back and forth, maybe bending both together and then straightening, reaching the heels down, maybe rising to the tiptoes. Allowing yourself heel lifts. Once again, allowing yourself to move intuitively, remembering that when we are moving through our intuition in a way that feels good for us, intentionally allowing us to follow our desire, it allows us to tap into our intuition and into our inner power. It allows us to build trust within ourselves for both on and off the mat. Finding any movement or stillness in your downward dog that would feel good for you in your body. We'll find 3 more rounds of breath. Maybe exhaling through the mouth. Imagining on the exhale, releasing what is no longer serving you. Exhale through the mouth. Last round. From here, we'll slowly release the knees down to the mat. Walk the hands slightly forward, finding a puppy pose. As you allow the heart to melt down towards the mat, you can find your chin or your third eye to the mat, a blanket or a block. Hands can reach long on the mat as your hips stack roughly over your knees. Allow your heart to soften. This is a super juicy opener through the heart, especially for anybody who spends a lot of time at the computer. Life is often in front of us, whether we're at the computer, eating, driving, cooking, making art. Life is in front of us, and when we can open through our heart, it allows us to move forward in our power. Take 2 more rounds of breath here. On an inhale, beginning to walk the hands back underneath the shoulders. And from here, we'll go ahead and flip to our backs once again. You can plant your feet on the mat and come down in any way that would feel good for you. Allowing yourself to roll all the way down to your back. We'll hug the knees into the chest once again and just take note here how different your hips, your body, your back feels than just a few moments ago when we were here at the beginning of the practice. We'll plant the feet down on the mat. Gently shift your hips over towards the left side of your mat. Allow the knees to fall to the right for a supine twist. You can bring your arms out to a T or cactus beside you. If there's another leg variation you would prefer to take here in your twist, I encourage you to do so. Your knees can be stacked. If your hips are feeling tight, you can place a pillow or a bolster between your knees to support your knees. Or if you'd like to take this further, you can cross your top leg over your bottom leg. For a gentle self-adjustment, take your right hand to the outside of the left rib cage and gently, very gently, pull on the outside of the rib cage with your entire palm of the hand. Just gently, almost as though you're trying to just like brush off some flour off the countertop. You don't have to use a lot of pressure. Just gently allow your fingertips to pull on your rib cage, tracing your ribs down to the front side. Notice how that feels in your body, in your twist, and only doing this if it feels good for you. You can take that pull down the side of your left torso. Perhaps you land on your hand on your hip and you slowly and gently trace the outside of your left thigh with your right hand, gently deepening the twist, a little self-adjustment. When we allow ourselves to place our hands on our body, it allows for deeper proprioception or awareness of our body in space. When we give ourselves these subtle self-adjustments, just like self-massage, we're practicing reciprocal energy within ourselves at the same time as we receive and give to ourselves. When we practice reciprocal energy within ourselves, it allows us and empowers us to practice reciprocal energy with the rest of life. Take one more round of breath on this side, allowing the left arm to, or right arm to come back out to the side. Engage through the core as you draw the knees back through center. Unwinding the legs, you can plant your feet on the mat, shift the hips over to the right side of the mat, and allow the knees to fall to the left for the supine twist on the opposite side. Now this side might look or feel different than the first side, allowing yourself to meet yourself where you're at on this side. Perhaps you'd like to place a pillow or bolster between your knees, especially if your hips are feeling tight. Maybe if you'd like to go a little deeper, you actually cross your right top leg over your left knee, allowing yourself to twist deeper. Gaze can be where it's comfortable. Notice how your breath has changed with this twist on this side. Notice what's the same, what's different. And then if you tried it on the other side, I encourage you to try it on this side. Try giving yourself these gentle self-adjustments by taking the left hand, placing the palm on your rib cage on the right side, and slowly tracing the rib cage with the palm of your hand all the way around to the front. Just ever so gently encouraging this twist. Notice how it feels. Notice what it feels like to give and receive from yourself to yourself at the same time. Maybe it feels uncomfortable. Maybe it feels really freaking good. Maybe it feels like it's been a minute since you've done a twist. Remember, there's no right or wrong, good or bad, as long as you can allow yourself to listen to yourself, moving intuitively and moving out of love. Take a few more rounds of breath on this side to find any movement or stillness that would feel good for you in this twist. And on your next inhale, engage through your core as you slowly draw your legs back through center. You can plant your feet on the mat and shift the hips to where they're centered and your spine is long and straight once again. You can walk your feet wide on the mat, allowing the knees to knock in towards one another, and allow your hands to place on top of your hips. Palms down, tapping into the grounding energy. Allow yourself to tap back into your breath. Feeling your belly rise and fall. Noticing the temperature of your breath. The rhythm. And from here, we'll find our final resting pose of Shavasana. You can allow your legs to come long on the mat. Toes can fall wide. Hands can be where it's comfortable. Maybe you would like to leave your feet where they're at, planted on the mat, knees knocking in towards one another. Allow yourself to just find a comfortable position here on your back. Or perhaps that's on your side in a supported fetal position. As you find your comfortable position, allow any controlled breath to fade away. As you allow yourself to stay here and remain here in your Shavasana as long as you desire, feeling supported and appreciated by yourself, to yourself, and feeling so much gratitude for making it to your mat today and for your body for moving you through your practice and allowing you to engage in this practice. You can stay here as long as you would like. But if you're ready to complete your practice, you can wiggle your toes, fingers. Perhaps reach your arms long overhead, toes long towards the bottom of your mat. Yawn. Allow yourself to reawaken into the world completely new. Making your way to a comfortable seat on your mat. On your next inhale, you can reach your arms overhead. Allow the palms to meet And as you exhale, draw your hands and the energy that you've cultivated here today down to your heart. Thank you so much for sharing your light and your practice with me today. The love and light in me sees and honors the love and light in you. Have a beautiful rest of your day.